Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are fine there. Today we are going to discuss one topic of class 11th, problem solving. In this session we are going to discuss introduction to problem solving cycle, analyze the problem, design algorithm and pseudocodes. We will start with the introduction. In today's scenario, computers are used for solving various day-to-day problems. Thus, problem solving is an essential skill that a computer science student should know. It is patent to mention that computers themselves cannot solve a problem. They does not have their brain. We have to give the instruction to them. The precise step-by-step instruction should be given by us to solve a particular problem. Thus, a problem solving is a process of identifying a problem, developing an algorithm for the identified problem, and finally implementing the algorithm to develop an computer program. Steps for solving the problem. We have 4 steps in problem solving. First is analyze the problem, developing an algorithm, coding, testing and debugging. Now we are going to discuss one by one each step. Step number 1, analyzing the problem. It is important to clearly understand a problem before we begin to find a solution for it. If we are not clear as what to be solved, we may end up developing a program which may not solve our purpose. So understanding of problem is very much essential. If you does not know what you want to do, if you does not know what you want to solve, you cannot give the solution for that problem. In understanding the problem, we will analyze the inputs, what outputs are required, and how inputs should be converted to the outputs. After understanding the problem, we'll go to the second step, designing an algorithm. Now our first step is analyzing the problem or understanding the problem. It is important to clearly understand a problem before we begin to find the solution for it. If we are not clear as to what to be solved, we may end up developing a program which may not solve our purpose. So understanding the problem is very essential. In understanding of the problem, we are going to identify what inputs are required, what outputs are required, then how input should be going to convert into the output. So understanding of the problem will clearly indicate us that what we are supposed to solve or what we are supposed to do. After we are clear about the problem, then we'll go to the second step, designing an algorithm. What is the designing an algorithm means? Now we have inputs, we have an output. So how input is going to be converted to the output? Here we are going to write a step-by-step solution which convert input into the output. This step-by-step solution is called algorithm. Once algorithm is ready, then we will go to the next step, coding. In coding, we are going to convert the algorithm into a particular programming language. We know we have different types of high-level languages like C, C++, Pascal, Python. Each language has their own syntax and grammar. So in coding phase, we are going to convert the algorithm into the language syntax and write the programs. Once programs are ready, then we are going for the correctness of the program in step number 4, testing and debugging. In testing and debugging, we are going to test the program for the various parameters, whether the output will be achieved what we want to solve. Is there any error? If there is an error, then correct that error and again see the result. So these are the 4 steps in the problem solving. First, analyze the problem, then develop an algorithm, third coding, then testing and debugging. Now here we are going to discuss about algorithms now. Algorithm. What is an algorithm in a general language? Algorithm is a set of steps to accomplish a task, or we can say a set of steps which when followed solve the problem or accomplish the required task. Now we are going to see this with an example. Suppose we want to put the books in the box. So we have to follow step-by-step solution for that. First step is always start. Then next what we will do? Pick up the book. After picking up the book, put the book inside the box, close the box, and end of the process. So here you see we are going to follow step-by-step solution of a problem. This is called algorithm. Characteristics of a good algorithm. First, finiteness. Finiteness means an algorithm should have a fixed number of steps we should follow. Say 5, 10, 100,000, n number of steps. But that step should be over. It cannot be infinite. Second is definiteness. Definiteness says we should follow a proper sequence for getting the solution of a problem. It is just like suppose you want to make a dish. For making a dish you have to follow a recipe. The step-by-step method written in the recipe which we should follow to make a dish is called definiteness. Means we have to follow a sequence. Effectiveness. Effectiveness indicates that when we follow the steps, we'll get the solution of that problem. Input. Before doing any problem, we require certain initial data, which is called input. And after what we'll get the final result, that is known as output. So each algorithm should have these things. Then what is the algorithm in computer science? Algorithm can be defined as a finite and ordered sequence of well-defined logical steps to reach to the solution of a problem. Now, step to be followed to write an algorithm. Step 1 is always start. Then step 2, identify the inputs and outputs, what is required before start and what we'll get after the completion. Step 3, read the value of input variables. Step 4, do the calculations, processings which convert input into the output. Step 5, print the output, and step 6, stop the process. Now we take one more example. Suppose we want to write an algorithm to find the sum of two numbers. So step number 1, start. What we want to do? Here we require 3 variables. 2 variables to read the value and 1 variable to get the result. So let's say we have 2 variables A and B and 1 output variable C. Input the variable A and B. Suppose I have given A 10, B 20. Add these two numbers and give the result to C. So C is equal to A plus B. It becomes 10 plus 20 equal to 30. Print the value of C, which is 30, and stop the process. You see here we have followed sequence of steps. Step 1, 2, 3, 4. In the one by one we are executing the logic. It is called sequential flow. It is called sequential flow. Now we take one more example. Write an algorithm to validate the eligibility of a voter. A voter is eligible if his or her age is more than or equal to 18 years. So what we will do here, step number 1, start. Step 2, read the age of person. Now here check, age is greater than or equal to 18. Now there are 2 possibilities, either this condition will be true or this condition will become false. If this condition is true, if age is greater than or equal to 18, yes, then go to step number 4. Other, if condition is false, then go to step number 5. In step number 4, if age is greater than 18, then voter is eligible for voting, then go to step number 6. If age is less than 18, then go to step number 5, voter is not eligible for voting, and then go to step number 6. Step number 6 is stop the process. Now suppose we have taken example age equal to 16. Step 3, 16 is greater than or equal to 18, which is false, means it will go to S part step number 5. Voter is not eligible for voting. Then go to step number 6. Again we take a new value, age equal to 22. Now again 22 is greater than or equal to 18, which is true. Then go to step number 4. What is step number 4? Voter is eligible for voting. After that, go to step number 6. Stop the process. So here you see we have used the condition. So algorithm can be decision based also, which is called selection based. Next we take one more example. Sometimes certain set of statements are required to execute again and again, which is called loops or iteration. So in this algorithm we are going to discuss the iteration. Suppose I want to find out the sum of any n numbers. Step number 1, start. Read n, how many number you want to sum. We have declared two variables, sum and count, both initialized with 0. Read the number. Sum is equal to sum plus number. Increment the counter by 1. Check for counter. If count is less than n, then if it is true, then repeat step number 4 onwards. 4, 5, 6, again we'll execute. Again we'll go for condition. If again it is true, again step number 4, 5, 6, 7 will execute. If it is false, then we'll go to step number 8, print and stop. Let's see with an example. We have taken n equal to 4. Sum becomes 0. Count becomes 0. Read number I have given 5. Then sum becomes 0 plus 5, 5. Count becomes 0 plus 1, 1. Then again check. Count is less than n. Count is 1, n is 4. 1 is less than 4. True. Yes. Repeat step number 4. Read the value. I have taken new number 3. Then sum is equal to 5 plus 3, 8. Count equal to 1 plus 1, 2. Again check for condition. 2 is less than 4. Again yes, true. Go to step number 4. New number 6. Again sum is equal to 8 plus 6, 14. Count is equal to 2 plus 1, 3. Again check. 3 is less than 4. Again true. Again take a new value of num. Let it be 4. The sum is 14 plus 4, 18. Count is equal to 3 plus 1, 4. Again go for check. 4 is less than 4. Condition is false. If it is false, it will go to else part. Step number 8. Print sum. 18 will be printed and stop the process. So here you see step number 4, 5, 6, 7 keeps on repeated, executing again and again, which is called iteration. Now we observe 3 different programs. They have 3 different types of methodology: sequential, selection and iteration. In sequential they will execute one by one. In selection they will do depending upon a condition, and in iteration they will keep on executing the statement again and again until the condition becomes false. Now we are going to discuss pseudocode. Pseudocode is another way of representing an algorithm. Pseudocode is a simple and informal way of writing programming code in an English-like language. There are no standard rules to write the pseudocode. The word pseudo means not real and pseudocode means not a real code. For example, we take a real life example. Write a pseudocode to make a phone call. What we should do? First, unlock the phone, open the contact, search for the contact, place the call and end the call. So here we have follow the steps. This is called pseudocode. Pseudocode is an informal way of programming description that does not require any strict programming language syntax or underlying technology. It is used for creating an outline or a rough draft of a program. Pseudocode summarizes the program flow but excludes the details. It is used in planning an algorithm which sketch out the structure of the program before actual coding takes place. More example on pseudocode. Write a pseudocode along with the Python code to get the username as input and then concat the name with the hello message. So what we require? In pseudocode, we read the username and in output hello username will be concatenated here. But in language, we have to declare a variable name, input the value of the name, and print hello by using concat symbol with name. We'll take one more example. Write a pseudocode to find the result of a student as a pass or fail depending upon the grade. So read the grade. If student grade is greater than or equal to 60, then print pass, otherwise print fail. One more example. Write the pseudocode to read the marks of 5 students and display the average marks. Take a variable total, initialize with 0. Set the counter to 1. While counter is less than or equal to 5, we want to read the marks of 5 students. Input the marks. Add the marks to the total. Again, increase the counter by 1. Again, check for condition. Keep on executing until counter become 5. When it becomes 5, calculate the class average total divided by 5 and print the average. See one example. I have taken total equal to 0, count equal to 1. 1 is less than equal to 5, true. Read the marks as a 50. Add to total, 0 plus 50 become 50. Increase the counter by 1, which becomes 2. 2 is less than or equal to 5, true. New mark 40. Total becomes 50 plus 40, 90. Counter incremented by 1, 2 plus 1 becomes 3. Again 3 is less than or equal to 5, true. Again read the value of marks, 60. Total becomes 90 plus 60, 150. Counter will be incremented by 1, 3 plus 1 it becomes 4. Again 4 is less than or equal to 5, true. Again read the next marks, suppose 70. Then total 150 plus 70, 220. Counter is equal to 4 plus 1, 5. 5 is less than or equal to 5. Less than or equal to, true. Read the marks, 30. Total become 220 plus 30, 250. Counter will be incremented by 1, 5 plus 1, 6. Now again 6 is less than or equal to 5, false. Come out of this while loop. Class average is equal to total by 5, 250 by 5, 50. Print class average 50. So in this way we can write the iterative pseudocodes. Now advantage of pseudocode. Pseudocode is understood by all type of programmer. We can say it is another way to represent the logic in a natural English-like language, irrespective of the programming background. I hope so it is clear to you. Thank you very much.